issue that, well, is near and dear to the purple people's heart, and that's corporal punishment in schools. You know, there's a story out of Florida, of all places, Florida. You're thinking, oh, here we go again, Florida, making headline news. Yeah, if you're thinking that, I too was thinking the same thing. I mean, it's the state that gave us Florida, man. And Matt Gaetz, who was the congressman there, who used Venmo to like have sex with an underage girl. And well, I digress. Anyway, corporal punishment in schools, it's kind of problematic. You know, this is an issue that, well, government created. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've done my homework, so you don't have to do it. In 1977, long time ago, the United States Supreme Court ruled in England versus Wright that, well, corporal punishment should be allowed. And it's up to the states to determine whether corporal punishment can be doled out. And wouldn't you know, there are exactly 19 states in the United States that allow for corporal punishment, Florida being one. So, what is corporal punishment, you ask? Well, it's usually a paddle or some kind of object and a spanking of a child. And it's said to be disciplinarian in nature, although it's not. Abuse is never disciplinary. You know, you can verbally abuse somebody, you can physically abuse somebody. All of those are forms of abuse. And well, for whatever reason, humans, they consume with the thought that, well, if I physically abuse someone, that'll teach the person a lesson. They won't do that again. No, all you're doing is telling their brain that you are physically not fit to de-escalate a situation without the use of physical force, which that just shows me that you have no other tools besides barbarianism. That's what it tells, well, a logical thinking, evolved individual or owl. Anyway, the individual in question, or the story goes that a principal of an elementary school, well, she called the student's mother and told her that this 6-year-old girl had damaged a computer screen. And well, to bring $50 to the principal's office to pay for the damage to the screen. Now, this is how you can tell it's a good mother. She actually bought the $50 to the school to, well, repay the debt for what her daughter had done to the screen. So, right there, the story should end. It should be a wrap. That's it. Turn off the lights, turn off the cameras. We're done here. But no, this principal, by the name of Melissa Carter, well, she had a 2-feet paddle in her office, and she bit the girl over the desk with the mother sitting in the office. And she proceeded to start striking the girl in her rear end very violently. I've actually looked at the video. There was such malice, such, well, sadistic behavior in that video of her willfully enjoying beating that girl who's 6 years old with a paddle. You can tell that the principal, well, she shouldn't be a principal over children. She doesn't have the right, well, kind of thinking, to say the least. Her cognitive abilities are not there. The elevator doesn't go all the way up to the top. And you can tell that, well, she's done that before. She wasn't a rookie at it. She's done that a lot. And maybe somebody did that to her. You know, oftentimes people that abuse people were abused themselves. It's not always the case, but it is in a lot of circumstances. And well, you can tell that she got great joy out of that. And well, the girl was crying. You would think after the first time that you paddled her and she begins crying that you would stop. That something would go off in your head and say, Maybe I proved my point. But no, she did it 3 times. And, you know, this, I hate to bring race into this situation because it's not a race situation. But I'm going to bring race into the situation. You know, it was, it happened to be a white female principal. And, you know, everybody's talking about, well, what happened a long time ago, the history and formation of our country, and the atrocities of slavery. And, well, wouldn't you know, recently, a comedian actually went to a southern state. And, well, she was talking with some individuals who I would imagine identify as being white. And, well, they were downplaying the severity of slavery. They said that most slave owners treated their slaves very nicely, like a tractor. You wouldn't want to harm your tractor. You wouldn't want to have your tractor break. I'm sorry. The definition of slavery is an atrocity. There's nothing nice about being the slave of someone else or being in possession of another individual, regardless of what the creature is, human or other. You know, theories and thoughts like that, they're dangerous. And, well, the individuals that espouse them, you know what they are. So you try not to go around it. It's nothing funny when people espouse those kinds of things. It's sick. It's disgusting. It's grotesque in nature. You know, this woman that paddled that little 6-year-old girl, she shouldn't work in another school again. She should be fired. And I'm glad they're doing an investigation of her, legally and otherwise. And I hope she's made to pay restitution to that girl. Because, well, that girl's been scarred now for the rest of her life. She'll have, well, trauma around that situation. A situation that should have never occurred. The mother was willing to pay restitution for the damages. And that's the end of the story. You know, we have kids that are playing sports now. I saw the video out in Oakland where a couple of boys were pushing and shoving each other. They were playing on a basketball team in Oakland. I know Oakland. I know Oakland well. I'm thinking about coming out to Oakland because there's some shady shit happening in Oakland. And, well, when you know, it's going to take the purple people's eye to get to the bottom of it. There was a Breonna Taylor bust, a statue of her head. We all know who Breonna Taylor is. She was tragically assassinated by the Louisville Metropolitan Police last year, right around this time, inside of her own apartment. You know, a 2-shift paramedic who was working during a pandemic to save lives, assassinated by the state of Louisville, the city of Louisville, correction, the state of Kentucky, a southern state, a slave state. You know, 19 of the states that still support or enforce corporal punishment, they're all southern states. There's a real problem going on in the South that nobody wants to address. A resurgence of hatred, a resurgence of bigotry, a resurgence of white supremacy. And we won't tolerate it. We won't tolerate it. I just want to make that clear. But this is about the principal and the 6-year-old girl. I'm sorry that she had to go through that. I'm sorry that her mother had to witness it. You know, we got to start doing better. We got to stop abusing children. We can't expect children to not abuse other children when adults abuse children. Thank you for listening.